everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so grateful. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the paradox of self-concept and romantic relationships, and why should you and how can you set boundaries with a specific person or with people in general in your life. Now, the first thing I want to put out there is around a misconception. See, when we say in the manifestation community that whatever goes on within you, your dominant beliefs, your dominant thoughts and emotions reflect outside, and that's how people, places, and situations show up in your life. People really get stuck in one perspective, but that's not how life works. You say that whatever you feel within you reflects outside. So if you feel good within you, if you have a good self concept, if you know you're this good person, then these people should come into your life that make you feel that way. And that happens when you change your self concept and you know you are a certain way. You will have those kind of people show up in your reality that will also say those same things to you and declare the same things to you. If you truly do feel within you you are beautiful, there will be people coming up in your reality that will say the same thing to you. If you feel happy, whole, and fulfilled within you, there are people who are going to come into your life who are going to enhance that feeling more and more. But understand this and hear this very carefully. This does not mean that you will never in your life come across a person who is unpleasant or come across a bad human being. The main intention I had to start this manifestation channel has been to uncomplicate manifestation, and the second most important thing, to dissolve away all these misconceptions around conscious creation. And trust me, there are a lot of them. You will not stop meeting different kinds of people in your life. You are a human on this earth. Okay, you see hundreds and thousands of faces every day. You interact with so many different people every day. You having a good self concept, which brings in people, which enables people around you to show up in a way, does not automatically translate into you never facing someone who is talking badly to you, someone who is disrespecting you, someone who's just not a good human being. That will not happen in this life. So, the first thing is remove that misconception from your mind completely, that if I'm on this journey of conscious creation, then I will never meet a bad person or I will never have an unpleasant experience. That will not happen, and I'm telling that to you in a very straightforward manner. Learning and mastering deliberate manifestation implies you know how to deal with these kind of things better. You know that, okay, now because this happened, I know how to deal with it. I know how I have to be in my own stability, in my own safety, and come back to yourself, shift your state of mind, and ensure you're turning that into a pleasant situation. You're focusing on the solution. So, no, in my perspective, that is not something I will teach, or I believe that I have a really strong self concept, so I will only meet good people in my life. I will only attract or call in people that have good things to offer, that have good thoughts about me, that would add something to my life. Now, this is where setting boundaries come in. When you work on your self concept, you know what kind of behavior or treatment is acceptable to you. You have created standards for yourself, you have created a benchmark for yourself. So, anyone who wants to enter your life and not match that or not respect that, that is where you are supposed to put in boundaries. Now, why does that happen? Because beliefs, when we say you have beliefs around thousands and lakhs of things. Okay, don't get scared. I'll try to break it down for you and make you understand. Belief is just not this one concept that you can pick up five main areas of your life. For example, job, opportunities, health, wealth, success at work, relationships. Okay, you have picked up the main areas of your life, and maybe you have a good self concept around that, and you have dissolved away your limiting beliefs around everything. And when it comes to these areas, everything just always works in your favor. But when I say beliefs, or when anyone says beliefs, you have beliefs around the smallest thing in your life or surrounding to the biggest ever situation in your life. Beliefs is just not a concept that is applicable to these major areas of your life. You have beliefs about everything around you. And I'll give you the easiest, simplest examples from your daily life to make you understand. I never get valet parking whenever I choose a restaurant. I just end up going to these places that never seem to have valet parking. And then you start naming it as bad luck. I always have bad luck when it comes to parking. I always get stuck in traffic whenever I leave from office. It does not matter if I'm leaving at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or even 5 o'clock when it's not even peak traffic time. But somehow, when I need to leave office, there's always traffic out there. I have bad luck with it. Whenever I have to fill petrol from this specific petrol pump, there's always long line over here. But randomly when I pass by, I always see this petrol pump as empty. So your experiences in your life that keep happening, occurring again and again, build beliefs in you around every small thing, every small task that happens in your life. Now, why do we pick up these major areas and talk about beliefs only around these things? Because these are really big areas of your life, right? Relationships, they bring fulfillment and love, your wealth, your job, from where you're earning and becoming independent. So these are big major areas of your life. But that does not mean that your beliefs are limited to these areas. As a human, you have beliefs about every person that you know. You have beliefs and preconceived notions about every other task or activity. And trust me, there are people out there who like manifesting these small things. This is also suggested that, when you are learning how to deliberately manifest and when you're just starting your journey, start with these small things. Because when these small things happen, they change, they will make you believe that yes, this is true, this happens. It builds a confidence within you, and then you can move on to bigger things. There are actually so many people out there who work on these small manifestations because they find it fun. I do it with a lot of things. I always get parking wherever I go. I always escape long lines. I always have strangers compliment me. So you have beliefs around every small thing. Whenever I have to go to airports, wherever I have to stand for my security check-in, the line is never long. You have beliefs about everything in your life based on your experiences. Can you change it? Yes, of course you can change it. You can always change your beliefs and thoughts in your life. It's the most normal thing ever. But don't think that belief is some complicated word. It's so complex to understand and it's only limited to these huge areas of my life. You have beliefs about everything and everyone in your life. And sometimes it can be a little difficult to pinpoint why this kind of certain situation happened with me. People have bad days. You are a human being. Sometimes you will meet people who will ruin your day. Sometimes you will face some unpleasant incident or argument that will make you feel bad. It's completely fine. Learning deliberate manifestation does not make you stop being a human being. So, yes, when you need to set boundaries, be it with a specific person, that is something you really should be doing. I've spoken about how to manifest while having bad days. I will link it up here, you can have a look. I've also created a detailed video on how to stop receiving ill treatment, specifically in terms of romantic relationships. I'll also link that below, the specific person playlist, you can have a look. When someone is treating you in a way that makes you feel disrespected, that makes you feel small, because I place a lot of importance on self love and self concept, you need to set boundaries over there. It has to be a really, really firm no. When you practice self concept, you set a benchmark for yourself. You know the way you want to feel loved. You know the ways you want to feel cared for. You know how you want to feel in a relationship. And if someone is not treating you that way, you need to say no to it. No, I will not be treated this way. No, I will not accept this behavior. No, I will not be disrespected this way. Now, if you want to say it out loud and set physical boundaries and say it to that person's face, that is completely your choice. But from a manifestation perspective, what I'm trying to tell here is you need to say a no, a firm no internally. You need to know internally that no, this is not the behavior that I will take. This is something which is really unacceptable to me. This is not how I feel about myself, and this is not the standard I will keep for anyone who's trying to enter my life. What is that personal standard that you have set for yourself? You don't want to feel small when you're with someone. You don't want to feel disrespected. You want to ensure that person gives enough importance to what you have to say and what you want to do. You don't want to be excluded from important conversations, decisions, discussions. You need to ensure you have that kind of standard set where people are just not walking all over you or making you into this person who is a pushover. When you decide that this is not the treatment you will take from a specific person, you need to internally tell yourself that I do not identify with this person who will ever be okay with this kind of treatment. That is not the version I'm going to take on. That is not the version that is acceptable to me. I'm going to shift to that version that knows her value or his value, that knows the standard that I have set for myself. And anyone who is not reciprocating that, you don't have to engage with it. You don't have to entertain it in your physical reality. What you say to your specific person externally is secondary. The most important thing is what you say to yourself internally. What standard are you setting up for yourself? You need to have that strong inner dialogue that if you cannot match this energy, if you cannot match this standard, you cannot have access to me. And that is how you set strict boundaries when it comes to romantic relationships. Now, here I just want to talk a bit about everyone is you pushed out, but to what extent? See, everyone is you pushed out, the concept in itself is really true. Because whatever you believe internally about a person, that's how they are supposed to show up in your reality. But again, as I said, people like getting stuck in one perspective. When I say everyone is you pushed out, I do not believe the part that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that you will never ever meet unpleasant human beings. Everyone is you pushed out, but to what extent? If tomorrow randomly a person comes and there's a scene and they're arguing with you or they're abusing you and that just caused you to have a bad day, you cannot come back and blame yourself for it, that everyone is me pushed out. So, something would have gone wrong within me for this unpleasant person to show up and cause that scene. You cannot change every person on this earth or every person that you bump into on the road. Because, as I mentioned, being on this journey of conscious creation does not automatically translate into you never ever meeting people who are rude, who are disrespectful. But if you have set standards for yourself, you know how to react to that situation. You know how much you want to engage with those people. You know where you need to set your boundaries. Everyone is you pushed out is not an excuse for you to accept ill treatment from your specific person or anyone else. And sometimes people post such heavy comments to try to understand someone else's perspective or seek their advice when it comes to physical or verbal abuse, when it comes to toxic relationships, or when it comes to domestic violence. Just because everyone is you pushed out does not mean you need to sit and take that treatment or behavior from someone. If someone is not treating you well to that extent of abusing you physically or verbally, you need to get out of that situation. Why would you want to be with someone, interact with someone, engage with someone who is so toxic, who gets physical, who gets abusive with you? And if your mind is so fogged with the fact that you are in love with that person and this is the person you want to be with, and you want to try manifestation to change them, it is going to be a struggle when that person is in your face. And if that person is abusive, it is going to be a struggle to ignore that 3D. It is going to be a struggle to affirm in the face of those circumstances. Those are really, really extreme circumstances that you really need to understand. Why do you want to be in that situation? Why do you want to be with that kind of human being? Yes, deliberate manifestation means taking responsibility for your immediate surroundings. If I have a specific belief system about this person, that this person is toxic, is abusive, it's normal for them, and that's how they keep behaving with me. That's not an excuse to keep taking that behavior. You can still leave the situation, you can still draw boundaries, you can still stop engaging with it. I don't understand how these two things go together. Yes, maybe it is possible that that person keeps showing up this way, which is unhealthy because you have really strong story and beliefs about them that this is how he is or this is how she is. Does not mean you are now obliged to stay and take that behavior from them. If you are very well aware that you would not be able to change the situation because you just don't have that power, that kind of emotional and mental energy, that kind of energy where you know you can ignore this 3D, which is clearly very disturbing. If you know you would not be able to do that, just stop engaging with it. People really need to stop being stuck in this one perspective that either it's this way or there's nothing else to do. This person is showing up this way again and again because I believe he is like this or she is like this. So, there's nothing I can do because I have to take responsibility for my immediate surrounding. Okay, take the responsibility and move out. How does that translate into you staying there and trying to put in all your energy to change the situation? Why do you even want to sit in that situation long enough for you to want to change it? Why do you want to be in it? That is something you need to ask yourself. And I'm talking about the extreme, extreme situations where, as I mentioned, there's abuse, verbally, physically, any kind of violence. Why do you want to be with these kind of people? Why are you doing that to yourself? Keep manifestation aside for some time. Keep everyone as you pushed out aside. Keep it aside that you want to change the situation. Anytime I hear these kind of things, because I place so much importance on self concept and respecting yourself enough and maintaining your value, for me, the first thing I would say is why are you there? Why are you engaging in this kind of situation? Why are you letting this situation be in your awareness? Why don't you just disengage with it? So, you really do need to set boundaries with your specific person, with any person who's entering your life after them. You need to set a standard for yourself. You need to set a benchmark for yourself. And the main thing is not just to set it internally, but to follow through when these kind of situations show up. It's not just setting those things for you internally, it's actually standing up for yourself when you know that no, this is not the kind of behavior that sits well with me. This is not the kind of treatment I will take. If you cannot reciprocate what I'm expecting, what my standard is, then I'm going to disengage with this situation altogether. I'm going to go ahead and manifest that kind of person or that kind of situation that matches the standard I've set for myself. And trust me, when you have set a standard for yourself, when you practice self concept, when you build in strong beliefs around love and relationships, and when you disengage with such kind of situations, you will call in that kind of person and that kind of situation that matches and reciprocates that same energy. Now, how does everyone is you pushed out works? I'll give you an example again in terms of romantic relationships. If you have a weak self concept where you feel you deserve a certain kind of behavior, a certain kind of treatment where you're not respected enough but you're okay with it, two things will happen. Either you will attract or call in that kind of person who is already that way, who will already make you feel like they don't respect you enough. Okay, they're already that kind of person. Or there's going to be a person who's going to walk into your life, and eventually your preconceived notions, your self concept, your beliefs will reflect on that person and mold their behavior. These are the only two scenarios that can happen and that explain everyone is you pushed out. Same things happen when you have a strong self concept. Either you will attract the same kind of person, call in the same kind of person who already matches your energy, who is already that kind of person who matches your standard, or the person who comes in or you're with will start molding their behavior in a way, because everyone is you pushed out, where they start behaving well and treating you well as per your standards. So these are the two things that happen. You either call that person who's already that way, or the existing person starts molding their behavior in a way that matches how you are feeling about yourself internally. Now, if your specific person is not showing up the way you want them to, I've explained this in one of my earlier videos. When it comes to love and relationships, there is going to be three categories. How you feel about yourself will project on them, how you feel about them will project on them, and how you feel about love and relationships. If they are not showing up the way you want them to, you need to set boundaries. Internally, you need to, from a manifestation perspective. Externally, if you want to say it out loud, it's your choice. From a manifestation perspective, I'm talking about all things internal. You need to set a boundary, and if you choose to spend your energy, time, and attention to change them, you want to change their behavior, it is possible. Obviously, it is possible, but that is something for you to decide. There are also people who keep asking, when should I stop trying to change my SP and manifest a new one? That is not something I can answer. Where do you want to put your focus and energy? I do have a video on that in my specific person playlist, where I can tell you pros and cons from a manifestation perspective, but I cannot decide for you when you should choose a new person, call in a new person, and when you should keep persisting in trying to change this person. Sometimes changing a person that is already with you, because it's not a clean canvas, you already have beliefs set in, you have history with them, you have old resentments with them. Trying to change a situation, replacing beliefs, replacing your old stories, dissolving away your resentment is more work than calling in a new person. That's why this feels like a struggle. A new person is a blank canvas. So do watch out that video to understand the pros and cons, but this is your decision to make. Do you have the energy for this? This can be exhausting, and sometimes that's why people just give up and they just try to manifest a new person altogether. So ensure internally you are setting standards for yourself, you are practicing self love, you are building your self concept, and when it's needed, you are actually practicing it in your physical reality. You are actually standing up for yourself, and whenever there's behavior or treatment that is unacceptable to you, that does not match your standard, you can just disengage with that situation, with that specific person. Don't let these things be in your awareness. That's completely in your control. No one is forcing you to sit in that situation, take that behavior. That's completely your choice at the end of the day. If you feel it's too exhausting to manifest a new version of this person, if you feel there's just too much history, too much resentment, you always have a choice to just disengage with that situation and call in a new person that actually matches your standard. So do try to understand this, that everyone is you pushed out, but to what extent? And you will never stop meeting wrong, bad people in your life. You're on this earth. That will never stop happening. It might decrease a lot. It might make things easier for you, like getting out of such situations that are unpleasant easier for you. Manifestation changes a lot of things in your life, but stop blaming everything that happens in your life, in your day, on yourself. If that was something which was completely random, if that was a completely random topic around which you don't even know if you have any beliefs or not. As I said, you carry beliefs about every small thing, every big thing, and every person in your life. So practice manifestation in a way where you know how to deal with these things, where you know how you can turn around these things, where you know the output of these things can be made easier for yourself. But being on this journey of conscious creation and thinking that everyone is you pushed out automatically translates into, I will never meet anyone who's rude, I'll never meet anyone who's showing me attitude. That's not true. If you have any kind of questions around this topic, you can leave it in the comment section below. I also have my Instagram account linked below for a regular dose of motivation, and also my second YouTube channel which is about self development and mindset, not really from a manifestation perspective, but in general. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, have a great week.